Good morning, everyone. Before the world rushes in, before emails, alarms, and expectations, take a breath. You're about to walk into a day filled with decisions, distractions, and demands. But here's the truth. How you start your day determines how you live it. And how you live your day, that's how you live your life. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about alignment, remembering who you are, what matters, and how you're choosing to show up in the world today. So before you do anything else, listen to this. Every single morning, before the world even knows you're awake, you are given a moment of truth. It may last 5 seconds or 5 minutes, but in that moment, you have a choice. You can rise out of bed and let the world tug you in every direction, chasing obligations, distractions, and expectations, or you can begin your day anchored in something deeper, something that doesn't just wake you up, it pulls you forward. Most people wake up and are instantly swallowed by their to-do list, meetings, emails, errands, responsibilities, the what and the how of life. But very few pause to ask the one question that changes everything. Why? Why does this matter? Why am I doing this? Why does today even exist for me? That one question shifts everything. Because when you start your day from a place of obligation, it doesn't matter how productive you are, you'll end it feeling depleted. But when you start your day from a place of purpose, even the smallest tasks carry meaning. Even the toughest challenges feel worthwhile. You don't just get through the day, you lead it. Purpose is powerful. It's not something you hang on your wall or scribble in a notebook during a motivational workshop. It's not a catchy phrase or a feel-good quote. It's real. And the people who live from that place of purpose, they don't need external motivation. Their reason is their fuel. Think of the nurse working 12-hour night shifts. She clocks in when most people are heading to bed. She battles exhaustion, deals with stress, and carries the emotional weight of life and death. On the surface, you might see her checking vitals and moving from patient to patient, a routine, repetitive cycle. But look closer. She's not just doing a job. She's healing people. She's holding the hand of someone who's scared. She's comforting a family that doesn't know what comes next. She is quite literally saving lives, even if she doesn't wear a cape. She's tired, yes, but purpose gives her strength. Her why is bigger than her fatigue. That's what makes her unstoppable. We all need that because, let's be honest, life gets heavy. Whether you're a teacher trying to reach kids who feel unseen, an entrepreneur building something from nothing, a parent juggling work and family, or a student trying to find your path, the grind is real. The weight is real. But so is the reward, if you know why you're doing it. Purpose gives meaning to the mundane. It transforms an ordinary commute into a journey toward your dreams. It turns a repetitive task into a brick in the foundation of something bigger. Without a sense of why, even the most glamorous work becomes draining. With a sense of why, even the toughest work becomes fulfilling. It's the difference between surviving and leading, between burning out and burning bright. But here's the thing. Your why doesn't have to be some grand mission. It doesn't have to change the world. It just has to be true. It might be providing your kids with a stability you never had. It might be creating something meaningful in a world obsessed with noise. It might be making one person's life better, even if that person is you. And it evolves. Your reason today might be different than it was 5 years ago. And that's okay. What matters is that you're clear on it, that you've taken the time to define it. Because if you don't define your why, someone else will. And you'll spend your life chasing goals that don't belong to you. Just take a moment and ask yourself, why does this day matter? Why is it worth showing up with your full presence, your full heart, your full effort? Maybe it's because someone is counting on you. Maybe it's because this is the first step in reclaiming your confidence. Maybe it's because you're finally choosing to stop living small and start living true. Whatever it is, name it, claim it, and don't stop at just knowing your reason. Feel it. Let it live in your body. Let it shape the way you walk into rooms, the way you speak to people, the way you carry yourself. Because people can feel when someone is aligned with their purpose. It's magnetic, it's contagious, and it's rare. You've probably seen it. The leader who inspires not with power, but with clarity. The friend who always seems grounded, even in chaos. The artist who pours themselves into their work like it means something. That's not an accident. That's the result of a person who's done the inner work to connect with their reason for being. When you know your why, the how gets easier. You stop asking, how am I going to get through this? And start asking, how can I honor what I'm here to do? You become more resilient because purpose gives you perspective. You stop sweating the small things because you're focused on the big picture. And when setbacks come, and they will come, you don't crumble. You remember your reason. And that reason becomes your foundation. There's a story about a janitor at NASA during the 1960s. Someone asked him what he did, and he didn't say, I clean floors. He said, I'm helping put a man on the moon. He knew what he was part of. He saw the bigger story. And that mindset changed the way he worked, the way he lived. That's the power of knowing your why. It invites you into a bigger story. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be clear and committed. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, stop. Don't push through blindly. Ask yourself, am I being pulled by obligation or led by purpose? It's easy to forget, easy to get lost in the noise, easy to let urgency replace meaning. That's why this moment, this breath right now matters. This is your chance to realign, to remind yourself that you're not just here to get through the day. You're here to live it fully, intentionally, and on purpose. Start from that place. Let that truth guide your choices, not just the big ones, but the small ones too. Because the small choices compound. They shape the direction of your life. One moment of clarity, one act of alignment, one step in purpose. That's how transformation begins. So before you step into the chaos of the day, pause and go inward. Listen. Ask yourself what really matters. And when you find your answer, let it lead you. Not just through the morning, but through everything. There's something we don't talk about enough, how uncomfortable growth really is. We talk about success, ambition, winning, but rarely do we talk about the middle. The messy, uncertain, imperfect middle. And yet that's where all the magic happens. Not in the moment you cross the finish line, but in the days you weren't sure you'd keep going. Because let's be honest, not every day is going to feel like a breakthrough. Some days you'll wake up with a clear plan, and by noon it'll be in pieces. Some days you'll give your all, and it still won't be enough. You'll miss deadlines, you'll mess up, you'll fall short. That's not failure, that's life. That's growth. The illusion we've all bought into, often without realizing it. The illusion that in order to start something or to be taken seriously, we need to be perfect, flawless, ready. But no one is ever really ready. And perfection, that's just fear in disguise, a comfortable excuse for staying still. The truth is, the people who go the furthest in life are not the ones who do it perfectly. They're the ones who do it anyway, who show up even when it's awkward, even when they're tired, even when they don't have all the answers. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need the courage to take the next step. Consider Thomas Edison. Over 1,000 failed experiments before inventing the light bulb. Think about that. 1,000 times. Most of us wouldn't even make it to 10. But Edison didn't call them failures. He called them steps. Each no brought him closer to the yes. Each attempt taught him something the previous one didn't. His goal wasn't to be perfect. His goal was to keep learning, keep moving. And that's the key. Progress isn't flashy. It's not loud. It doesn't always feel like you're moving forward. Sometimes it feels like standing still, like walking through fog. But the very act of moving, even an inch, matters. Too often we measure our value by outcomes. Did we win? Did we succeed? Did we get the promotion, the deal, the applause? But the real victory is in showing up, especially when it would have been easier not to. There is something deeply courageous about trying again after a disappointment, about picking yourself up after a stumble, brushing off the dust and saying, let's keep going. Because what builds character isn't perfection, it's persistence. And persistence only happens when we allow ourselves to move forward even when things aren't going according to plan. Take the story of J.K. Rowling. Before she became one of the most successful authors in the world, she was rejected by 12 publishers. She was broke, a single mother living off public assistance, sitting in cafes scribbling out chapters of a story no one wanted to buy. But she didn't wait to be perfect. She didn't wait to be comfortable. She just kept writing, not because she knew it would become a global phenomenon, but because something inside her told her it mattered. That's what progress looks like. It's not glamorous. It's not always inspiring. Sometimes it's just about sitting down and doing the work, one paragraph, one email, one step at a time. We live in a culture obsessed with instant results, highlight reels, overnight success stories. But what those stories leave out are the years of work behind the scenes, the drafts that never made it, the late nights, the moments of self-doubt. The truth is, excellence is built in the shadows, not on the stage. And the cost of chasing perfection? Paralysis. When we're waiting to feel confident, to have the perfect pitch, to craft the perfect post or product or presentation, we delay, we overthink, we stall. And in that stall, life passes us by. How many ideas have died in notebooks, not because they weren't good, but because someone was waiting until they were perfect? How many dreams faded, not because they were impossible, but because someone got stuck trying to make everything just right? Progress over perfection is not about lowering your standards. It's about raising your resilience. It's about realizing that greatness is not in getting it right the first time. It's in having the courage to keep trying. Let's think about athletes, the great ones, the ones who win championships, break records, make history. They don't wake up winning. They show up early. They practice through injuries. They lose games. They fail in public, but they don't walk away because they know that every drop of sweat, every missed shot, every moment of struggle is part of the process. They're not chasing perfection. They're chasing growth. That mindset, that relentless commitment to the next step is what separates people who succeed from people who stay stuck. And it's not just in sports or business. It's in parenting, in relationships, in healing, in self-discovery. Sometimes progress looks like having a hard conversation instead of avoiding it. Sometimes it's choosing to forgive when you'd rather stay angry. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when you didn't think you could. We tend to minimize small victories, but those small wins are what shape us. They are the proof that we're evolving, even when it feels like we're not. And on the days where everything feels hard, the kind of days where you question everything, where nothing seems to go right, where you're not even sure if what you're doing matters, remember this: your consistency is more powerful than your perfection. Your willingness to keep going is your greatest asset. You don't need to have it all figured out. No one does. You don't need a flawless plan. You just need to start. You just need to commit to movement, however small, however slow, because movement compounds. And over time, those tiny steps add up to something extraordinary. So give yourself permission to be a work in progress. Be someone who is learning, growing, evolving, not someone who's stuck in the illusion of having it all together. That's not real. That's not the point. The point is to move, to try, to get your hands dirty, to build something messy and real and honest. And in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple. You show others that it's okay to be imperfect as long as you're moving forward. Perfection is a prison. Progress is freedom. And today, you get to choose which one to live in. So don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be real. Aim to be honest. Aim to be a little bit better than you were yesterday, because that's enough. And over time, enough becomes everything. But you can't get to enough if you're running on empty. You can't build anything, not a relationship, not a career, not a meaningful life, if you've drained yourself trying to keep up with everyone else's expectations. I think that's exactly what so many of us do. We push, we strive, we pour out everything we have until there's nothing left to give. And then we still try to give more. We forget that energy isn't infinite. It doesn't just magically refill itself. It's something we have to take responsibility for, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We live in a world that praises hustle, glorifies exhaustion, and treats burnout like a badge of honor. But here's the truth no one tells you. No one wins when you're burned out. Not your team, not your family, not your goals, and certainly not you. You can't give your best if you don't have your best. You can't lead others if you're lost yourself. You can't show up fully for anyone, your partner, your kids, your clients, your purpose, if you've abandoned yourself in the process. It starts with boundaries, not walls, not coldness, boundaries. The kind that say, this is where I end and something else begins. The kind that protect your time, your peace, your priorities. And yes, sometimes that means saying no, not because you're selfish, but because you've finally learned that you matter too. We say yes to so much out of guilt, fear, and habit. We take one more call, we agree to one more favor, we attend one more meeting. But every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could restore you. Rest isn't a reward for finishing everything on your list. It's a requirement for doing any of it well. Look at the story of a woman who built one of the most recognized companies in media. She was wildly successful, admired, seemingly unstoppable, until she collapsed from exhaustion. She hit the floor, not metaphorically, but literally. That moment changed everything. She didn't build $1 billion company because she never rested. She built it because she finally understood that rest is strategy. Recovery is strategy. Stillness is strategy. We live in a culture that treats slowing down like falling behind, but slowing down doesn't mean giving up. It means tuning in. You can't hear your intuition in chaos. You can't process, reflect, or create when you're constantly reacting. Movement is essential, but so is stillness. Momentum matters, but so does direction. And direction comes when you pause long enough to ask, is this where I actually want to go? Protecting your energy isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters more. It's about shifting from trying to do everything for everyone to doing the right things for the right reasons. That's what leadership actually looks like. The quiet power of being grounded, the clarity of knowing who you are and what you need to thrive. And it's not just about work. It's about how you live, who you spend time with, what you allow into your mind, your heart, your body. Everything you consume, from conversations to content, affects your energy. You might think scrolling for hours is relaxing, but how do you feel afterward? More inspired or more anxious? You might think being around that friend is harmless, but are they draining you or fueling you? You are responsible for your energy the same way you're responsible for your health. No one else can manage it for you. People will always want more from you, more time, more attention, more access, but they're not responsible for the cost. You are. You're the one who has to live with the consequences of always saying yes, of always putting yourself last, of never pausing long enough to ask, how am I really doing? Imagine what your life could look like if you protected your energy as fiercely as you protect your schedule. If you honored rest, not as an escape, but as a practice. If you stopped apologizing for needing a break. Imagine waking up not dreading the day, but meeting it with presence and power, because you're not running on fumes. You are not built to be exhausted all the time. You are not made to live on caffeine, guilt, and deadlines. You are made to live on purpose. And that requires energy. That requires choosing every day to treat your energy as sacred. So maybe today's breakthrough isn't about doing more. Maybe it's about doing less with more intention. Maybe it's about closing your laptop an hour earlier, turning off your phone, taking a walk, saying no without guilt, breathing deeper, listening closer, going to bed without feeling like you have to earn it. Because your value is not in how much you do, it's in how present you are when you do it. And when you're rested, restored, and aligned, that's when your real power shows up. That's when your leadership becomes magnetic. That's when your creativity wakes up. That's when your relationships deepen. That's when you stop surviving and start living again. And so if you want to do something powerful today, don't just make a list of tasks. Make space. Create capacity. Say yes to energy. And let that be the foundation of everything you build from here. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It sounds simple, even cliche, but pause for a moment and really think about it. Who are those 5 people in your life? Not the ones you wish you spent more time with, not the mentors you follow online, but the actual voices around you every day. The ones who shape your thinking, your energy, your habits, your sense of what's possible. Are they building you up or slowly draining you day after day? It's easy to underestimate just how much influence your environment has on your life. You think you're making your own choices, but look closely and you'll realize you often move at the pace of those beside you. Their expectations become your ceiling. Their mindset becomes your norm. Their fears become the boundary lines you don't even realize you've accepted. Look at high-performing teams, thriving families, even tight-knit friend groups, and you'll find one thing in common: trust. Encouragement, a shared sense of rising together. It's not about always agreeing. It's about knowing that even when you're being challenged, it's out of belief in who you could become. Because the truth is, people either help you grow or they keep you stuck. There is no neutral. You know it when you're around someone who expands you. They speak possibility. They remind you of your values when you forget. They don't let you shrink even when you're tired. They see something in you that you're still learning to believe. And then there are the others, the ones who maybe unintentionally make everything feel heavier. The constant complainers, the critics disguised as just being honest, the ones who make you second guess your voice, your worth, your path. They don't have to say it directly. It's in their energy. It's in the way they respond to your dreams with silence instead of support. It's in how you feel after being around them, not inspired but smaller, quieter, uncertain. And if you don't actively choose your circle, you inherit one built out of proximity, convenience, or old comfort. But comfort isn't always healthy. Sometimes comfort is the excuse we cling to when we're afraid of outgrowing people we've outgrown. That's not disloyalty, that's evolution. Think about a plant. It doesn't matter how healthy the seed is. If you plant it in toxic soil, it will struggle. The roots can't take hold. The nutrients aren't there. Even with sunlight and water, it can't thrive unless the environment supports growth. You are no different. You may have vision, talent, drive, but if the people closest to you are constantly doubting, distracting, or diminishing you, your potential can't fully activate. You'll still grow, yes, but it'll take longer. It'll be heavier. You'll second guess steps you would have taken boldly if someone had just said, "I see you, keep going." But this doesn't mean surrounding yourself with yes people. Quite the opposite. You need people who challenge you, who hold you accountable, who aren't afraid to call you out, but always call you forward. There's a difference between correction and criticism. Correction builds, criticism breaks. The right people know that difference. Look around. Who lights you up? Who brings out your best questions, your strongest values, your deepest truth? Who makes you feel like more of yourself, not less? You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to stay where you're not growing. And you definitely don't need permission to protect your energy. The company you keep isn't just about social connection. It's about your future, your focus, your faith in yourself. Surround yourself with people who aren't intimidated by your potential. People who don't just tolerate your growth, but celebrate it. People who are running their own race and cheering for yours at the same time. Find your tribe. Build it if you must, even if it starts with one person who believes in you. Hold on to that, because success, the kind that lasts, is never a solo pursuit. We rise better when we rise together, and who you rise with matters more than you know. We live most of our lives as if we're in a dress rehearsal. Like the real show starts later, when things settle down, when we've saved more, when we've healed, when we've got it all figured out. But the uncomfortable truth is that we don't get to rehearse life. This is the main event right now, not someday, not when the timing is perfect, not when we feel ready. This moment, as imperfect as it may be, is our life. We treat time like it's a guarantee. We speak in future tense like it's owed to us. I'll call them later. I'll chase that dream after the holidays. I'll say how I really feel when the moment is right. But if you've ever lost someone unexpectedly, if you've ever watched a second chance disappear, you already know the brutal truth. Not everyone who goes to sleep wakes up. Not every conversation gets a do-over. Not every opportunity waits. So if you're hearing this right now, if your heart is still beating, if your lungs are still breathing, you've been given something sacred, a gift. One more day. One more chance to love, to risk, to feel something real. One more shot to live with your eyes open and your soul lit up. And the tragedy isn't just in the people we lose. It's in the lives we never fully live. So many people are alive, but they're not living. They're going through the motions, checking boxes, hiding behind routines. They wake up every morning and move like the day doesn't even belong to them. And maybe you felt that too, like you're stuck on autopilot, like you're doing everything right, but still feel so far from yourself. What if, just for today, you lived like this was it? Not in fear, but in awareness. Not in panic, but with purpose. Would you still complain about that meeting, or would you speak with more intention? Would you still hold that grudge, or would you finally make peace? Would you still keep your dreams quiet, or would you take the first step, even if it scared you? You don't need permission to start living like it matters. You don't need approval to go after what moves you. You just need the willingness to stop postponing your own life, because waiting doesn't make it easier. It only makes it shorter. Look at the people who inspire you, not the ones with fame or money, but the ones who are fully alive, the ones who radiate something you can't quite describe. That energy comes from alignment. It comes from knowing that they're not here to just exist. They're here to live fully, unapologetically, gratefully. That doesn't mean they have it all figured out. It means they've decided to show up even in the mess, to lean into the unknown, to make peace with imperfection, and still go after what they believe in. They know that life is a fragile, beautiful thing, and they treat it that way, with reverence, with joy, with urgency. And urgency isn't rushing. It's recognizing what's at stake. It's choosing to be present instead of distracted, to listen instead of scroll, to act instead of hesitate. It's saying the hard thing while there's still time. It's calling your parents just to say thank you. It's telling your friend, you matter to me. It's kissing your partner like you remember how lucky you are. It's walking outside and realizing that the sky, that exact color, that exact light will never look the same again. There is no practice round for any of this, no backstage, no second version of your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. You don't get to replay your child's first steps. You don't get a do-overs on the chances you never took. What you do get is today, a blank canvas, a shot at meaning, at connection, at real joy, right now. And yes, it's terrifying sometimes, saying what you really feel, putting yourself out there, starting the thing that might fail. But the only thing scarier than living with risk is living with regret. Wishing you'd had the courage to say it, to try it, to feel it before it was too late. So if there's something tugging at you, something you've buried under fear or logic or the myth of someday, listen. Life doesn't wait. And you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next honest step toward the truth, toward the person you're becoming, toward the life that keeps whispering your name. The clock is ticking, not in a way meant to scare you, but to wake you up. Because one day, there won't be another sunrise. One day, this version of you, this exact moment, will only exist in memory. Make sure it's one worth remembering. To live now, love now, start now, not because it's easy, but because it's the only thing real. Before the noise of the day grabs you, before the to-do list grow arms and pull at your attention, before emails flood your inbox and expectations start pressing in, pause just for a moment. Because this moment, right here before the world spins you into motion, is sacred. Take a breath, not just to oxygenate your body, but to remember who you are, why you're here, what truly matters. Because if you don't anchor yourself now, the day will decide for you. And the day doesn't care about your values. It only cares about your response. So before you respond, reconnect. Remember your why, the reason you started, the reason you care, the reason you get back up even when it's hard. That reason, your why, is not a slogan. It's not a job title. It's the fire under the surface, the quiet voice that says, this matters. Don't lose sight of it. The world will try to distract you with what's urgent, but your why keeps you loyal to what's important. And once you remember, take one step, just one. Not the perfect step, not the most impressive one, just the next one. Because you don't need to know the whole path, you just need to move. Perfection is the voice of fear dressed in professionalism. But progress, however messy, however uncertain, is the language of the brave. And every small intentional step compounds into something meaningful, even if you can't see it yet. But as you move through the day, protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. What you give to the world starts with what you give to yourself. And when your tank is empty, everything becomes a burden. Your work, your relationships, even your passions. Don't just check in with your schedule. Check in with your soul. Say no when you need to. Rest without guilt. Play without needing to justify it. You are not a machine. You're a human being. And your energy, your ability to show up fully is not selfish, it's essential. Look at who's around you. Who's on the front row of your life? Are they cheering for you even when you stumble? Are they reminding you of your worth when you forget it yourself? Or are they pulling you into the noise, the drama, the doubt? Because no matter how strong you think you are, the people you surround yourself with shape the person you become. Choose wisely, build relationships that feed your courage, not your fear. Water your roots, not just your image. And never settle for connections that cost you your peace. And finally, live today. Not just pass through it, not just survive it. Live it. This isn't a trial run. This isn't a practice day. This is the only version of today you'll ever get. You don't get to rewind it or edit it later. You only get this one. So live it like it matters. Laugh deeply. Speak honestly. Be present with the people who matter. And if something scares you, say it. If something pulls at your heart, follow it. You won't always get it right. Some days will break you open. Some will surprise you. Others will feel impossibly ordinary. But even in the ordinary, there's meaning. Even in the quiet moments, life is speaking. Don't miss it, chasing something shinier. Sometimes the most extraordinary moments are the ones no one else sees, the deep conversation, the quiet walk, the first page of something new. So be intentional, be fully unapologetically human, feel deeply, risk often, love loudly, and when the day ends, whether it went how you hoped or not, let it be a day you lived, not a day you performed, not a day you rushed through, but a day you truly showed up for. That's what matters, that you showed up, that you didn't wait, that you didn't hide, that you let this day, this gift be lived, because no matter what happens next, you'll know this day wasn't wasted. Now go live it.